these trips and what it used to be there, no, I'm going to totally disagree with you, and I would say to anyone, you should go see it for yourself.
Maybe officially so declare a refugee, but not officially, right? Every European nation have a different system for Ukrainian than people coming, from the south. Right? So the Ukrainian are given a different program. The program is make sure they get a job. Right? I mean, I speak for Germany. So they're given different kind of program, right? Whether it's an asylum seeker, you are in a certain camp, right? And you're with limited access, right? So but Ukrainian are treated different.
I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you what the workforce was there. They were Ukrainian. So if you want to tell me that they don't, I mean,
it's a trivial
did
point.
I see a big Asian population? No. I mean, I don't know where we're, necessarily looking to see where people have immigrated from, but they definitely absorbed a considerable amount of people. Now, Krakow is closer to Ukraine, so I don't know in Warsaw. I haven't been in Warsaw in many, many years, so I couldn't tell you what's there, but I definitely saw it in Krakow.
So, Abby, what do you propose for coexistence? How can Jews and Muslims live side by side in peace?
Well, we could start with stopping the death threats that we just got 4 of them in my neighborhood this week, telling us that they want to kill us and they want our blood. So we could start with, in America, trying to accept other people's political views without getting, getting to the point where they have to resort to terrorism. I mean, in terms of over in the Middle East, I'm not able to give you an answer to that. There's so much diplomacy involved, but you have to start respecting other people's religions. I was in a room yesterday, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing from this one dude, just basically painting Jews as vermin and rats. And, I mean, it's horrible. It's just horrible. And I finally said something on stage like, what if you just changed the word Jew to Asian, Black, Hispanic, and how that would sound? It's just horrible. So you have to start with respecting other people and respecting other nationalities and religions. And maybe that's the beginning.
A comedian, I mean, you spend great deal of time live streaming and things. I hear a lot of very correct remarks from you. What lagging is you fail to connect all these positive remarks. Like what is the motivation of all the remarks you make? Is there a strategy behind? What is their plan?
It's just a communication.
To connect all the different points, and then you realize America are being attacked systematically, right? And you need to connect the point and then use your effort, live streaming, you are pretty much 24/7 here, to make this aware that you stand out with a view, not on superficial level, but a clear strategy, right? How America are being infiltrated, where this come from. Are these, for example, like they could come from a building.
I know, but Dave, it's just spam
Russia,
wars.
Siberia,
It's just,
right?
it's all spam, Dave.
Just to spend, right? For example, or they could come from, if you look at the map, right, where the Islam is, Middle East, North Africa, many of them, you can easily pay them, few $dollars per day or whatever. They can do whole day spending just like Nuva. So have a strategic explanation of all the positive observation you have made here today.
Well, I was running through some claims that I heard and I wanted to hear from different perspectives, so I learned a few things. I also, made sense of how people conceive of the humanitarian angle. I learned from a normal that Israel recently came out saying that they want to, they are planning or they are mobilizing some form of method to continue ensuring access to food supply.
100%. That is very much, they're doing it even as we speak, by the way. I'm not interrupting you. That's literally happening as we speak. In
Yeah.
addition to the siege, yeah.
I actually googled it a normal after you said that, and I verified it independently. So
Yeah, I tell the truth. The guys in the ears don't believe me, but I tell the truth.
yeah, I can confirm this thing is true. But we don't know how. I believe they're going to try and distribute it in a way where they make sure it doesn't end up in the hands of Hamas. I hope they are able to do that.
Of course.
There will be soon no more Hamas, no more.
But you know that that's not true.
Isn't it the U.S.? Is the U.S. in charge of it, Norma? I'm trying to remember that because the UN was a clusterfuck. So it's the U.S.
I don't see the UN having. Nobody trusts them.
No one
And
trusts it.
it looks like right now it looks like Israel is still in charge of it. I don't know if that's going to change. If you see our friend who has a Scottish accent, most recent update in our back channel, he's got everything that's going on. He's got very good information.
Well, it's a nice thought to think that Hamas won't get control of the food supply, but you know they always do.
Yeah.
Well, comedian, you need to hear about the Gideon chariot, right? So the whole idea is, I think by Israeli 24 a.m., I think was yesterday, that was a deadline, I guess. After that, Israel now has gone in, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. Norman, what do you think?
I'm sorry, I missed your latest question, Dave.
Gideon, the Bible hero, the operation, idea called the Operation Gideon
Chariot. Yeah.
Yes.
What's the questioning if the name is correct?
No, I think we got it right, but the whole idea is Hamas was requesting that a safe escape for their leader and the family, and then they will surrender the arms. I don't know if that happened or not, but that was part of the discussion.
I think Israel would be willing to take something like that. Maybe. At least that was on the table previously. They'd be able to leave and live, but nothing more than that. Because they want to, all these ideas, they're going to stay, but they're not.
Welcome back to New Persuasive Words. I'm Scott Jones.
Nobody trusts anything that they say.
And now for a brief moment.
If they gave all the hostages back right away, I think, again, I'm speaking for me, I'm not speaking for Israel. I think Israel would let some of them leave in exchange for all the hostages and those bodies. So I don't think Hamas, by the way, will ever give that up. Because they have nothing else except this ghoulish body snatching that they do, right?
Again, for you, comedian, the main keyword what you observe in all the spending is called division by deception, right? Or division by spending. Spending can be positive, but for negative, but most of the time is deception and lies, right? So division by deception, and this thing started since 1,400 years ago. Okay, comedian, got to see the big picture. Everything there started 1,400 years ago.
I don't need the history of hypnosis, Dave. I live in the now, and I can see that we are surrounded by criminals, traitors, frauds, liars, and scammers everywhere I look. They're everywhere. And that's not just projection.
But you always have to link back to the source, because the 4 years of left administration make sure that this part, this part of truth must not be discussed. This is a blind spot of American free speech, right?
There's no such thing as a blind spot of free speech. Censorship is the problem. X is what opened up the floodgates of information. We know things now about our own government and the people in the government. I mean, Comey should be arrested by Monday about 10 a.m. There are people who should be arrested in this country. And I hope to God Trump pulls the trigger and orders Kash Patel to make serious arrests throughout this country, including Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, so comedian list out all the blind spot that was introduced to be politically correct, not to speak about it, but these are the loophole that have been used to infiltrate United States. Okay, so focus on that.
I don't know. It's a big world, and when you start, the more you learn and the more history you read, you realize how little you know. But I just know there's bad actors out there that X has thoroughly exposed. And really, the Republican Party is a serious problem. with regards to our national debt, and the Democrats especially. But the Democrats are in the leaders of the Democrat Party are so crazy, so low IQ and dangerous to have them in charge again of the United States government. If the Republicans and Trump don't like lay some serious work to prevent this country from going far left again, I mean, it'll be crazy to think that happens. But even this whole Joe Biden prostate cancer story today, it's a never-ending interior propaganda against the American people. It's like a psyop every single day with the fake news. And anyways, I'm just saying all communication is spam, it's all projection, and it's all hypnosis. Think for yourself and question authority.
What's the story with Biden's prostate?
Apparently, like my uncle passed away from prostate and bone cancer, and it was a long demise, very painful death. And Joe Biden is not in a very good physical state of condition at this present moment right now. Nonetheless, yeah, it's in the news.
I think it metastasized, Norm, is what they're saying. Got into one section where his bones are. So it's a question that, yeah, I mean, they have much better procedures now for prostate cancer. I mean, obviously they can remove the prostate, but it's a question how much it metastasized.
It's tragic.
I think we truly closer to coexistence by peace through strength, right? And I mean, when I came here January, right, the Jewish were all like very guilty, trying to explain, trying to justify it, but now no more, right? Focus on peace through strength and unity of the society, and hostage is one way to divide the Israeli society. And I think Trump gave a speech to the Arab nation, peace through strength. And I hope, I don't know, I look forward to hearing some of the view. I hope.
But Dave, what Jews weren't on this app? There were no apologist Jews on this app prior to October 7th. Jews on this app have always, vehemently defended Israel and its justification for what it does. I mean, Israel is not an immoral state, so I don't know why you get off premising your statement there that Jews on this clown house app were apologists prior to October 7th, Dave. So I hate to tell you, nothing has changed, and there's nothing new under the sun. It's hate to break the news to you, Dave.
Yeah, what I observe is, I mean, when I came here, January 2025, or when I was other platform, immediately after October 7th, what I saw the Jews were saying, why they are doing this, why people are killing us, why we have been doing this, and arguing from all historical aspects. We were there, blah, blah. And then I think by adopting that peace through strength, there's no more need to justify anymore. You are that Israel is the outpost of the Western civilization, deep into the middle of surrounding nations who just hate certain things, right? So if you want for America to prevent.
Dave, Jews have bent over backwards to try to create peace over there. They have done everything they could possibly do to create peace. But when your neighbors shoot rockets at you and launch sneak attacks at concerts, enough is enough. October 7th was the straw that broke the camel's back. Jews don't attack. Jews want peace. So I don't know what you're even talking about, Dave.
Synagogue attendance is up. Synagogue attendance is up over 30% in the United States after October 7th, just so you know. So people haven't walked away or hiding. They're actually coming out with much more identity than they had before.
No, comedian, I'm saying the same thing Mike Huckabee is talking, right? Israel is a main entree, the beginning of the big dish. The big dish is U.S., right? Two are linked, right? And I'm talking about this is we also have to talk about in what way U.S. are weakened, right? Not to be consistently understand. You have to protect your outpost, and that was last 4 years was inconsistency. Now it's more consistent. And this has to be discussed to be made clear all the time because you have people like Nuha. So why we going to have coexistence? Because the October 7 and the subsequent span, and you can track which nation that are spanning this, and you can also track which legacy media are supporting it, like BBC and so on. You can find out all these things, right? And now people are more aware how in the West, the people in the West, how they are surrounded by all this infiltration, how their kindness allowing to come here, allowing them to work in maybe civil servant and so on, they could be used to intimidate people not to see the truth, to prosecute people who try to speak the truth. So we are now closer to the possibility that through truth, we understand how the infiltration has been going on by decades. And the fact that Israel will...
But Dave, you're doing what everybody does, which is history hypnosis. The whole point is to be in the now, Dave. The now demands security. The now demands intelligence. This is an eternal operation for the soldiers of Israel. The young people of Israel will never stop going in the military. They will always be defending the homeland, the perimeter. There's no stopping terrorism. There's no stopping crime, Dave. So your history hypnosis, so interesting. I got to tell you, it's falling on deaf ears.
For you, it's deaf here. The whole thing is about education. Educating people in the West. True, in US, we can do clubhouse. For Europe, it's impervious to clubhouse. And Europe has to be the focus point. Okay? Education.
I'm not sure. I feel like you're missing Dave, comedian. I'm not sure. You feel like aggressive towards him. I don't feel like you two are disagreeing or anything. Unless you're saying that it's already like Europe is already lost and there's no hope for Europe. Are you saying that?
No, I think Giorgia Meloni is going to be very important key in reversing the whole situation, right? Giorgia Meloni have been in Trump Oval Office, and you could see both of them have very good sympathy and understand exactly. And Giorgia Meloni say, you know, she want to see a stronger Western civilization. She want to make Western civilization stronger. And I think 1 or 2 days ago, she was with the Chancellor of Germany, right? And I think the next step is, I hope and I wish Giorgia Meloni could help to, you know, visit Israel, speak to your Prime Minister, yeah, Benjamin Netanyahu, yeah, and try to connect these three important countries, US, Germany, and Israel, and has to figure a way to have free movement for your Prime Minister to be able to work more closely with the Europe and address the main factor that divides the population of the society of European nations, that is migration politics. By establishing peaceful region in Middle East that aim for prosperity, and that may align hopefully with what Trump would like to do with some of the Arab nations, but not publicly speaking about. So if that happens, Amos wish for coexisting through peace and strength, and prosperity will happen.
I think there's got to be some type of communication advancement, or there has to be an interesting communication. You know, the other side has to take an interest in peace. They have to take an interest in coexistence. They have to break down their own stereotypes, bigotry, racism, and hatred. And, you know, essentially, it's like enlightenment. So until everybody essentially knows that we're all just energy and it's all metaphysics, and when you decide to do terrorism or commit a crime, you're a low IQ scumbag piece of shit who should be put in the ground. There's no explanation for murdering somebody who's an innocent person. It's terrorism, and you have to be able to identify that. If you are a Muslim Palestinian and you can't say that October 7th was a dastardly, terrible act of murder, and you think that, oh, it's justification for what the Israelis did to them over the past 20 years, you have to look at it in the whole context. No, you don't have to look at it in the context. That's what war is. It's a moment in time where there's an escalation of hostilities. And what they did to those people at that concert is bloody murder and terrible terrorism. And every person who was responsible for that there should be a justice over their head, and they should be put in the ground. I mean, that's what's happening, and it's going to continue happening until this cessation of hostilities is over and the hostages are freed. I mean, it's coming, and it's not going to stop. The fact that Trump is president is changing things in a way which we never would have happened. Trump is a big miracle, and Benjamin Netanyahu is a big miracle. And all these people that hated Benjamin Netanyahu on this app prior to October 7th, shame on them, because he's a courageous lion, and that's why he is where he's at today.
A comedian like Abnormal said there's no big difference between what you're saying and what I'm saying. I'm just, like for example, instead of saying Benjamin Bibi, yeah, that's what the people in Israel call him. Instead of calling him miracle, call him a wartime prime minister like Winston Churchill, because that statement alone will tell a lot of context beyond miracle, right?
Hey Dave, if Churchill ran for office right now, if Churchill ran for office when he was doing what he did, he wouldn't have gotten elected. Actually, he didn't get elected when he ran, if you remember. So as we look back in hindsight, it's some of the great leaders in the world. If they ran, they wouldn't be elected. It's like kind of interesting.
Comedian, let me understand something. Are you Bibis? You Bibi supporter? Comedian.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Me too. You got a problem with it, Amos?
Yes,
Absolutely, 100%.
Yes, I have a problem with it. Exactly, I have a problem with all those.
You know, that's why they make vanilla and chocolate. That's why you have democracies. You have democracies because the electorate elects who they want. And it seems like the electorate in Israel overwhelmingly wanted that. It's not Mapam and Mapai. They didn't get elected, have they, since 1977? They haven't been in office. So, like, isn't that what the electorate wants? We live in democracies. Like them or not, that's what the majority wants there. Yeah, that is my name. זה שם שלי. כן. מה הבעיה?
You know what's happened in 1932 in Germany?
Hey, I wasn't around in 1932, but I am around now.
In the Germany?
Hey, were you around in 1932, Amos?
Do you know what's
Or
happening?
was it Amos and Andy back then?
Who the majority of the Germans selected? You know,
Hey,
you
were you
know.
around then?
I ask you if you know or you don't know majority. Those people who say majority and majority.
Yeah, that's a democracy. When you elect somebody,
Caleb,
like them
all
or
you
not.
can do is write a military manual discussing the intelligence of the facilities.
You know, in our country elected a Senate and a House and a president that were Republicans. That's what our electorate wants.
Hitler go up with the majority. Stop shouting majority and majority. He's a corruption
Continue to
person.
shout majority.
You
That's how
think
democracies
Israelis,
work.
stupid Israelis, more corruption it will be. More
Yeah, so what do you do to a democracy? You want to end democracy and just take over. That's what you want,
Even
right?
Donald Trump fed up of it. Even Donald Trump is fed up of those.
See, almost, I mean, this is,
No, he isn't.
almost, this is,
He's on his way to Israel. You have no idea how much.
Don't be so proud
Are you in the
that you
government?
support
Are you in
it.
the government in the U.S.? Are you part of his diplomacy? Do you know Amos? Or are you just pontificating?
I know one thing.
Isn't
The
our vice
last
president
hostage,
our vice president is on route to Israel?
I know one thing. I
part of
know.
what?
Maybe learn to listen also. I know one thing.
Part of what?
The parents of the last hostage are released. American soldier have been released. One say thank you for Bibi Netanyahu. The only thing they great is Donald Trump.
No, we thanked Bibi. You're wrong.
No, they did not.
No, you're wrong. I
And,
spoke to Bibi
I
right away.
usually know what's going on in Israel. And
You do.
I know what
You don't
I
want
know what the
democracy.
Israelians I know what the Israelis did to these parents. Poor people, I feel sorry for them.
You obviously don't want a
how
democracy,
did
do
they-
you?
How did they lie? Even the Israelis lie. How did the Hamas took him as an hostage? They say that like he become chicken. Like they said, by the way, they say about the hostage. I don't remember his name. Before the war, what was the last hostage name? The people dirtiest name that he didn't fight against the Hamas. That's the same. They dirty his name. Why? Because he didn't say thank you for the king. Thank you for the king of Bibi Netanyahu.
He did.
You stupid.
But it's okay.
Don't say majority.
Don't call me
This
stupid.
stupid majority used that you מנפנפת במajority שלך. They are so dummy, so stupid, so ununderstandable, nothing. The people go out in the streets. Where is Sam? Where is Yair Netanyahu right now, you know?
Why are
Where's
you
my-
spending your time on Clubhouse?
My son's in Gaza, my son in Gaza,
Why are you spending your time on Clubhouse and not lobbying and working to affect your government if it's so important to you? Then why are you wasting your time
you want
here?
to
Why don't
ask
you get
why
on your
I'm
ass
in
and
Clubhouse or why
make your
you're in
changes,
Clubhouse?
find changes? You're just full of
Don't
shit.
you want to
Because they won't get off
argument
your
with
ass.
me?
No, it doesn't
Now
work
you
that
want
way.
to
It
argument
doesn't work
with
that way.
me?
If I don't
Why
like the
I'm in
government,
Clubhouse?
Yeah, but Abby, it's Clown House. It's the easiest option. It doesn't require any money or energy to open a room on this app to let people run their mouths for days on end.
Majority. So there is not ועדת חקירה ממלכתית. There is nothing in Israel. Only divided the people between religious, not religious, leftist, rightist. Look what's happening in Kaplan. Do you know what's happening in Israel today? You shouting there from the state, I'm Bibis, Bibis. Who is this fucking bastard, you know? When he bring Israel against the court, against the police, against everybody. He put the security minister.
I would
Who
say
fired
Yossi
the
Balin is a
security
fucking bastard. You want to say
tell
who he
us
is?
what's
I'm going to tell you
happening.
Yossi Balin is. You got, it's a democracy. Handle it. Accept it. Deal with it.
What
Don't work
democracy?
your
This
government.
democracy was
Don't get
before.
involved in politics.
This
You don't like it.
democracy was before
You
the
don't like
7th
it,
of
get involved in
October.
politics. That's what you do in a
This
democracy.
democracy is before the 7th of October. They are not in contact with the people anymore. Democracy, all the statistics say against the coalition. They sending my children to the military and they send their children to the synagogue to learn democracy. What democracy is it? Who are they to send my children to the military and their children to the synagogue? Who are they?
I don't know. Tell me about majority rules. How's that work? Do you ever study government, Amos?
Bibi could
Do you ever
choose
study government?
between the majority and let the people from the, like Ben Gvir and Smotrich, piece off from the government and take the majority, rightist, more rightist, like Lieberman, like Yair Lapid. He could make my majority. He
Well, you
could,
know what the problem
but
is?
inside
There's
and
people
you know
that
what
think differently than you do, and they have a right to
He's
vote.
the only prime minister that sit in the prime minister and is corruption in court every day. Every day it is in cases in court against policemen, against everybody.
Yeah, and then you will become.
You don't understand nothing in the inside politics.
Stupid, and I understand nothing in politics.
You
You think
understand
I know
nothing.
nothing
Only
about
from
politics?
America to shout and shout from America is the only thing you know.
Really? It's the only thing I know. You think that? Really?
I'm sure that you understand nothing.
You never know who
I
you're
don't
talking
think
to,
I'm
right?
sure about it.
You never know who you're talking to.
During the Second World War, right? Everybody are persuaded by Hitler propaganda. Please negotiate for peace. Negotiate for the peace, right? Until Winston Churchill said, You cannot negotiate a peace when your head is in the mouth of the Hitler tiger, right? And that's why Winston Churchill, even with everybody say peace, peace, negotiate a diplomacy, peace. And Winston Churchill showed to the world and eventually to the King of UK, you cannot negotiate when your head are in the mouth of your enemy. And therefore your enemy very effective.
Dave, I think you're in the Matrix. Might want to check your Wi-Fi connection. Can't quite hear what you're saying. Anyways, I just want to offer a little prayer of peace for everybody here in the coexistence room. Just take the deepest breath of the day through your nose. Hold it for 10 seconds. Let it go and say, I am a flower.
How do they coexist in Chicago, by the way, comedian? How do you coexist there?
I look around all the time. I don't stay on my cell phone, and I stay constantly alert. I mean, you're going to get robbed, mugged, or shot if you're not vigilant. There's crime everywhere, and they live on the trains. They live on all the intersections. Crime is an epidemic, and the liberal, communist, socialist, terrorist leaders of this city could give two shits whether you live or die. They could give two shits about you. They want your property taxes. They want your income taxes. They want to tax you to death. They want to borrow hundreds of billions of dollars to fill up luxury hotels with 60,000 Venezuelans. They're driving people out of their homes. You know, Cook County, Chicago, is one of the only counties where they will auction your house out from underneath you, even if you don't even know you owe the taxes. We're one of the only cities that still do that.
And comedian, how much do they borrow just to pay their pension?
It was like, I don't know, 80% of all pension payments are borrowed funds.
Like Chicago, or is it's Cook County. I think they have one of the most poorly funded pensions in the U.S.
Yeah, it's a catastrophe waiting to happen, and I think all the people who are retired now, they're thanking God that they made it out alive, and they're like, well, fuck it, you know. They all know that this is the destination is to the bottom. I mean, it's really what Congress and the Federal Reserve are doing, but most people don't realize that the global banking industrial complex, they're the ones who at the end of the day, as they like to say here at Clown House, are going to be the ones who say, sorry folks, you owe us the money. There's no debt forgiveness for federal debt, for state debt, for all these pensions. The banks are going to collect, and all these homeowners are going to get pinched. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm just trying to be peaceful now and coexist now.
What they're going to have to do is just default. They don't have a choice. But it's just, how much are they going to default by? I don't know.
I don't know why there can't be some type of there'll have to be some kind of international debt forgiveness consortium where Japan, China, everybody comes together and they're like, okay, you know, $10 trillion of debt is gone. Can we all shake on it? I mean, that's theoretical. So, you know.
That's all they'll do. It's like a normal bankruptcy. It's not that you can't pay on it. You just can't pay 100 cents on the dollar. But the problem is these people think, oh, don't worry, my pension's guaranteed. It's protected. Well, because Bush signed the Pension Guarantee Act. But that's the problem is if you read that fund, it's probably bankrupt in about 2 years. And if they pass it over to the federal government, you only get like 50, 60 cents on the dollar. So they're defaulting. That's what hurt the city of Detroit here. It used to be one of the biggest cities in the U.S., and then everyone moved out. And to your point, they just kept getting more communist dipshit mayors running the city. And didn't you say the new mayor of Chicago is worse than Lori Lighthead?
Yeah, because she was at least a corporate attorney. This guy's a communist Marxist history teacher from high school, head of the Chicago Teachers Union. The Chicago's Teacher Union is bleeding this city dry. Every taxpayer here has to revolt. I mean, there's got to be an organized political effort to put competent leadership in who can actually lower property taxes and free the people. I mean, Chicago has become a slave city, and the whole country will become a slave country if Congress doesn't start cutting spending and stop borrowing. Chairman Powell just said we are on an unsustainable debt path. It's sustainable now, and he did a Freudian slip, and he said it's unsustainable now. But everybody knows what's going to happen. It's going to be hyperinflation because the banks are global. They're agnostic with regards to nationhood status or countries. They don't really care if a country plunges themselves into debt. They have operations everywhere.
The thing is look at gold prices. They haven't gone up. That's just how much money the dollar's lost. The dollar's been debased. And eventually they'll repudiate the dollar as the reserve currency. We're already headed there.
I don't know. That's why I think Trump is
I have a
president.
question about Chicago. How's your DA? Bad as your mayor?
She's better than the last DA, but she's even an incompetent person. There's no real prosecution of. They let people still out on cash bail because of Pritzker. You know, I love Jews, and my dad's side of the family are Jews, and being Jewish has nothing to do with it. I don't even know why I brought it up. The point is, Pritzker is a prick, and I think he's a real scumbag. And some people love him, some people hate him. I'm a little indifferent sometimes, but most of the time, that guy is the worst. He's the worst governor in this country, and he's going to run for president. He's already positioning himself to run for president.
Gonna win. But what about your state AG? Do you know who that is? Is that
Kwame Raoul, I think his name is.
So are they prosecuting or no? I mean, like in some cities, like Philly, the DA.
Who cares if they prosecute? They don't even do capital punishment. That kid just killed 23 people at a Walmart. He got life in prison. Kill that kid. Execute him with the 22 to the head. It's the cheapest bullet. Get rid of him. Put him in a fucking body bag and bury him. His time on life is over. He killed 23 people at Walmart. Done. Taxpayers are not going to foot $120,000 a year plus to house that piece of shit. I'm telling you, the country has to doge the capital punishment system.
Do they have death penalty in Illinois?
No, they gotta start.
No, we don't. They got rid of it.
Do they have it in Illinois?
No, they got rid of it.
No,
They got rid of it a long time ago.
Reeboks.
That's one of the biggest scams we have going. Is we have mass murderers who never get executed for their mass murders. I mean, the kid that killed all those people in Highland Park, that shooter, he got like Louis Primo or fuck his name, he got a life in prison sentence. I can't understand why we are, as taxpayers, continue to vote for people who don't support capital punishment and the economic frugality of our judicial legal system. These prison complexes are draining us dry. Everything is draining everybody dry. And taxes are only going up. And they have to. So the voters have to really vote for the person. And that person has to espouse frugality at all and business-like things for all things. If you're not a business frugal person or fiscally conservative, I can't understand why anybody keeps voting for these people who just keep kicking the can down the road in this country.
Well, I mean, Edmund, our comedy, our biggest problem is Social Security and Medicare. That's unsustainable. I mean, they're both bankrupt. It's just a matter of them admitting it.
I agree. It's terrible. It's horrible. We're fucked in this country.
Hey, I don't know how your education system is in Chicago, but here in Michigan, you know what they did? Like, was back in 2009 or 10 when the economy was in the shitter. They found out, like these school districts found out that they couldn't pay on these pensions, right? Because the teachers never had to put anything in. And then starting like 2009 or 10, all teachers had to start paying in 6%. Well, let's say you were retired, you were going to be a teacher that retired in like whatever, 2013 or 2014, whatever, 2012. You never paid into your whole career. You only started paying in for like 2 years. Now the younger teachers had to pay in their whole career. That's just like the first person that collected Social Security, how much she paid in and how much she drawed out, because she lived till she was like, what, like 99? It's a fucking Ponzi scheme.
Well, if there's a stock market crash, then everybody will say, oh, fuck, it was a Ponzi scheme. But if they can just keep inflating the stock market, they'll prevent anyone from getting wise to what's actually happening. And it's the Federal Reserve through quantitative easing that buys up trillions of dollars in stocks and inflates the PE of a lot of these companies that should be fucking worth nothing because they make no fucking money.
What do you think happened during the Obama presidency? They said, oh, look at how well your 401k did. The Federal Reserve kept rates at 0% till his term was done, and Janet Yellen came in and started raising rates. So, like, again, it's
Well, Chairman
that-
Powell said, "I don't make meetings with the president. I wouldn't dare call the president." He didn't even say, I wouldn't dare." Chairman Powell's part of the problem, but Congress is really the problem. Chairman Powell seems to be a reputable person, and he is saying that Congress is the problem, that these Democrat big $1 trillion debt creators are the problem, that he's legally obligated to do what Congress tells him to do, which is to lend them $1 trillion at a tranche. So the whole 35% of our entire economy is funded with debt creation because of Congress and the Federal Reserve. That's 35 cents out of every dollar created in this country, which is the GDP. So we have a major economic problem, but Israel's got a big problem too. Everybody's got a big problem. It's just never gonna happen.
Did you ever see that clip? I know you've seen the Instagram reel. It showed like the families how they lived from 1948 to 19.
Somebody believe it? Every moderator in coexistence room. Somebody believe it?
Wow, I feel honored. I haven't said one word the whole time, and I just became a moderator. I don't know how this happens, man. I just feel honored.
I even don't believe for what I see in front of my eyes. Every moderator.
I don't believe it either. Honestly, I'm shocked.
I'm shocked. I don't believe what's happening here, but this is and more.
I think the Mashiach is coming.
And more will have to give me some explanation tomorrow morning. I'll ask him what's happened if he make my room a communist room. It's not.
I thought we're coexisting. So are you not coexisting with Kahanis also?
I prefer Palestinian and Zionists, to be honest.
Well, I mean, you have to coexist with everybody. That's what coexisting is, right?
I prefer the Palestinian and the Zionists. I think they are much more educated.
Much more civilized, right?
I know one thing, that when I come to the clubhouse, I go after Amir. So that's a fact. All the clever.
That's because they're all your best friends.
No, it's because I'm more clever than the Zionists.
But Amos, you don't teach meditation, and neither does Edward. So you're playing the dance, he's playing the dance, but you got to realize it's a dance. But it's not like you need to be more of a Mozart or a creationist, because coexistence depends entirely upon those who create peace, and those who deny peace or don't even talk about it. They're the problem.
You open a room tonight, you call it Amos's room. Why?
What? I didn't call it Amos's room. I called it the Tao Te Ching. I was playing the Tao Te Ching, the audiobook from Lao Tzu, which is all about governance and creating peace amongst people. I mean, the Chinese psychology and the Chinese philosophy is something that should be studied. They have a very mature and intellectual and intelligent way of viewing society, of viewing peace, viewing coexistence. You should read it. I mean, none of these Arab Muslims on this app, or these so-called Arab Muslims, because you don't know who any of these people are, that's part of the problem. Is this app is like a delusional communication hypnosis bullshit game. Don't fall for it. It's literally just hypnosis and entertainment. There's no real education that happens on this app. Every room is a self-roast barbecue, and it's all entertainment. You can fight with Abby, but Abby does actual political advocacy. I mean, I'm a lazy person too. I just create clown house rooms and create content. I think that's good enough. But, life is a war. I mean, it's love or war. And it's all, romance, love. Anyways, you see my point? Like, if you're not teaching education, if you're not doing teaching or education about peace and meditation and how to calm down and relax and coexist, as opposed to spreading nonsense propaganda hypnosis, you're part of the problem too. Try to be a part of the solution and try to educate people.
What I'm trying is not so much success.
That's because you're not framing it correctly. You have to call it an educational course.
Too much. Let other people. I want to hear black literature, black
Just change the name of the title. How to create peace in your life. How to create shalom bites.
Joe Black, I want to speak with Joe Blacketo. She had me, and I have her back now. And she looks to me like smile. Joe Blacketo, can you speak to Amos a little bit?
Well, I just want to speak to advocacy. I've been doing it for 15 years. I've had 34 states change their policy as a result of it. It's not easy. You can't just pop in and pop out and change it. Change policy. But I've done it for 34 states. It's taking 10 years, 15 years. And you have to go in. You have to develop 220 people at first, build them up to 200, and create little warheads based around whatever policy you want to change.
What I understand that you're a kind of a senator or something like this.
Well, some might call me a lobbyist. I do get paid for what I do through an organization called edchoice.org. I created the organization, and they gain results around specific education policy. We all have.
Pay you money, like Donald Trump pay you money to bring people to vote for him?
No, not to vote for him. I get paid money to influence legislators to write laws that favor education choice.
You're speaking too big of words for him to understand.
I
To be
can't.
honest, it's the first time I agree with Harry, but for a simple kibbutznik in Israel, only way is agreement. Only peace agreement will release the hostages. It's the only way. And what I know from the little bit news I get only from the internet, what's going on, it will happen in the next 1-2 weeks. They will come to agreement. Israel will go outside of Gaza. Hamas will release the hostages in the end. And those Hamasnik will go outside of Gaza. This will be the end of the war. And Bibi will say, I did. How many soldiers did die? How many hostages?
Nobody wins. It's a funeral procession. But why you think Hamas is going to leave? I don't think you're accurate in that assessment. They're staying put. They're in defense positions. They're not leaving.
For me, it doesn't matter if they stay or not stay. Even if they go out, somebody else will come. You think you will become a Zionist? You think that whoever will control, who will be the day after control, he will become a Zionist? What do you think? You cannot do, you can't change the people's mind. They all support Hamas, whether they admit it or not admit it. They are very poor today. There's nothing in their life. Some tents and some sand, and they are like the hostages at the same level. The poor people. What do you expect?
Listen, people aren't.
They don't have food to eat, water to drink. What do you expect from them to do?
Almost, have you done an actual assessment of what war is like? I mean, have you ever heard of a good war or what it creates? It creates despair and devastation and chaos. And that's exactly what has happened. But
There is one person in this room who knows better than me what is a war means. What is the word WAR means? You think
I know,
that
but
there
then
is one?
what you
Give
do.
me one person in this room who know better from me what is a war means.
I'm just telling you, when you read history books and you read about history and the number of occurrences of mass devastation.
I know from my experience why you solve only in a diplomacy way, only with
It's a funeral. It's a funeral procession, and eventually the funeral ends.
Anyway, become a really twisty room. A little bit.
Spicy.
Now we have a new moderators. Let's see. Somebody will surprise me. Want to give me talk? Let's hear you.
Well, yeah, let's hear you talk about how much you know more about war than I do. Yeah, I was a combat medic in Iraq for 16 months, so let's compare notes. Let's compare notes.
Yeah, okay. So you know.
I got the T-shirts, my guy.
So you know what is a war. You've been in Iraq, the team, and you know what is a war. Yes.
Yeah, and I watched and helped my friends while they died because you get shot in the head or the heart. I'm not God. And I don't know how to fix that.
So you know what is a war means. You know what his body means.